Hey, hello. We are live. We are live here. We're at the Deep Sea Underground podcast. This is your host, Shammy Deep. It is now September 30th, 2023, roughly about 12:30 midnight. How's everyone doing? How y'all doing today? Just give me a moment to set up here. Just make sure everything's right. I'm using StreamYard. Because StreamYard is pretty cool. I like their setup. I like how you can screen share and you can do slides. You can add slides right here, real time. So I definitely enjoy this platform, and it's free to use. So once you finish using recording a video, all you have to do is just download it to your hard drive, and then you can edit it from there. So it's a great platform to use if you want to stream and make content. If you want to get started, I think everyone should make content. I think everyone is capable of making content. It's just a matter of how good you can be at making content. Because anybody can get up here and talk on a platform, but what are you going to talk about? What messages are you going to give to the people? What are you going to bring? What type of information you're going to bring? What type of knowledge you're going to bring? So it's definitely important to so, sorry, I'm in the house and people are awake. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely important to have things you want to tell people. Like for me, like whenever I encounter somebody new or somebody that even a family member or friend that I know, I always like to leave them with some type of information. I always like to give them some type of knowledge that they might not be aware of, and I possess, the knowledge to give it to them. So I always try to do that, no matter where I go. Definitely very thoughtful about what I say and how I use my words. But yeah, so anyway, welcome to the Deep Sea Underground podcast. I'm your host, Shammy Deep. Um, I'm doing this is my third stream that I've done on the YouTube channel. I wish there was a better platform where we can talk freely and not be censored, because I made some videos before and they got censored because I said certain words like the V word and the illness word and the global sickness and all that stuff, right? So it's just annoying that you can't speak 100% freely to the people. I feel like speaking is an art within itself, and once you start censoring art, that's when things go bad. It's like who's to say what gets to be said? You know what I mean? Like we're all human beings, and we all have created this form of communication for a reason, and it's because we need to express ourselves. We need to um, show each other ideas and information at all different forms and levels. That's exactly what art is. Whether it be talking, whether it be drawing, whether it be playing music and creating sound. Art is art, and there should not be any gatekeepers to art. um, that is my biggest problem with the world. I think that we are allowing corrupt people to tell us how to live our lives, how to spend our time here on earth. And at the end of the day, God rules all. God gave us this time here on earth for however many years God decided for you to be here. And I believe our soul agrees to the time that we've been given. I feel like if you do what you're supposed to do, and and you fulfill your mission here on earth, then you completed your side of the agreement with God. It's like a contract with God to come here to earth and to make a difference and to complete your goal. I personally, I want to leave my mark here on earth. I want to imprint my signature on this earth. I want to engrave it into this canvas that we call planet earth. So when generations pass by, they can look down and see, oh wow, this was Shammy DP, or my real, my government name Shamar. This is what he did. you know this is what he left. This is his story. This is his message, his purpose. I want to see that happen throughout the entire world. I want to see the whole world, um, leave their message. And what were you given by God to do? Like what was your purpose? What were you supposed to be here on earth? I want to know who you are. Just like for me, I have this burning desire to show people who I am before I die. I want to be someone that the world respects. I want to be someone that people look up to, and someone that leads the way for righteousness. Okay, and I want people to understand that we all possess the power to lead, but we must lead in our own way, and we must show the people around us, like our friends and family, how they can how they can influence each other so we can build something better. It's like if you can influence the people around you, you can start something within each one of you. Each one of you have something to bring to the table. It's just pulling it out and understanding, okay, this is a valuable I'm a valuable asset to this team, my family, my tribe, my community, my nation. I'm a valuable asset because I can do X, Y, and Z. I don't need to work for somebody to provide value. I can create value on my own from scratch. And that can be from whatever form. That could be if you can, bake cakes better than anybody on the block. If you can knit, if you can knit clothes better than anybody on the block. If you can make leather. If you can grow crops. If you can make music. If you can write stories. Whatever it is, you know, what can you do from scratch? What is your God-given ability that you've been blessed to have? And sometimes those abilities, it takes time to harness. It takes time to develop those skills so you can become great at it. You might have a little bit of talent at it, but sometimes it takes years of practice and sacrifice to nail these skills, and dedication. So you have to understand that if you don't know what that is, if you don't know what your skills are, you're not going to understand your true purpose. You have to know what your abilities are. And I feel like a lot of people don't know what their abilities are. Like, what can you do that's different from everybody else? Because all of us have that within us. Our heart comes directly from God. The human heart is so powerful, it comes directly from God. The soul comes directly from the higher realms of earth. So, what about your soul can you provide here on earth? What can you show people from your soul, from your heart? And it starts by keeping a clean heart. You can't be corrupted by greed. You can't be corrupted by influential worldly desires, like money and sexual tendencies, and attention, and they call it clout. The kids call it clout. You can't be tainted by those things. Your heart cannot be tainted by these things, because if they are, you're going to be able to come to your full potential. And you really would just be wasting your time that you agreed to be here on earth. And I don't want to waste my time. I'm 27 years old. I just turned 27 on September 13th. And I definitely feel like I've wasted certain years of my youth. But again, I'm 27. I'm still young. I still have time to mess up, you know, and I'm thankful to have a great supporting cast around me to help me pursue my dreams and my goals and everything that I want to achieve in this life. I'm thankful for that. It hasn't been easy, it's definitely not been easy at all. But that's part of the story. That's part of my story. I want people to know my story, so when I make it out, it can be something like a roller coaster. You can see the ups and downs. I don't like when people complain about their hard times, because it's like, all right, I get it. We all have hard times. We all go through them. We all have trauma, but you have to realize that trauma is part of your story. And if you're not able to cope with it correctly, then it can damage you, and it can keep you in a low vibration. So, people have to realize that if you do not cope with them correctly, it will kill you. Just by the worldly desires that are around you. You know, And I think, when it comes to technology, technology has had this impact on people's lives that has been damaging, because let's say they're going through something in life in the real world, right? They run to the technology to escape what their problems are, or they run to drugs and alcohol, or they run to, let's say, let's just say, money addiction, food addiction, a sex addiction, all these different types of addictions, and it's all based around influence because we see people on the internet doing it. We see people that we look at on TV doing it. We see artists and entertainers doing it, right? They promote that lifestyle. So if we can, get away from these things, then we can focus on the reality of what we're doing. But the more distractions, the bigger the problem you're gonna have in your future. So it's about cutting distractions. If you're able to cut these distractions, then you can focus on what's in front of you. Because again, all of us have a story to tell, and there's obstacles put in front of you, so your story doesn't get told the way you think it should be told. So when these obstacles are in front of you, now you got to figure out, okay, how do I get around it? And there's going to be continuous obstacles in front of you, walls, bricks in front of you, mud pools, floods. Things are going to come in your way where you have to avoid it. You have to keep coming up with new strategies on how to get around it. You can't get stuck in one spot. You can't progress to you can't get over a wall or hurdle and then sit at the next one, right? You gotta continuously progress. There's a guy on Netflix. I forgot his name, but he's called the Free Solo guy. He like climbs mountains, and he's like, he's doing this without any harness and no ropes. Like this guy is, people will call him crazy, but really this guy is a genius because what is he doing? He's going up on these mountains with no fear, and he's climbing these mountains like it's life or death because it is. One slip up and he's dead. One bad move and he's dead. One false step, he's dead. So for anyone to put their life at risk like that on that level, that tells me that the level of focus and drive that that person has is incredible, and that's spiritual. That's something that, like, you can only do that. You can only be that type of person if you're surrounded by good energy and you have that Holy Spirit in you, because that means you have strong faith to accomplish your mission. If you don't believe in yourself, you're gonna fail every time. So that kid, he believed in himself every time he hit a new wall. Every time he went on a mountain, he believed, I'm gonna reach the summit. I'm gonna get to the top, and then I'm gonna get down safely. Because that's the thrill of his life. That was his story. So we all have to look at life in these aspects as there's always going to be an obstacle in front of you. Whether you're struggling with weight addiction, whether you're struggling with food addiction, or sexual addiction, or sleep addiction, or just you're neglecting the things that are important, right? And a lot of people do that. They use drugs and alcohol to neglect what's important. And if you keep neglecting these things, then listen, you're just going to keep wasting your time. You're going to keep wasting the time that God gave you here on this earth. And if you're not aware of the time that's passing, you're going to look up 20, 30 years later, and so much is going to have happened, and you're going to be left with nothing. You're going to look back like, what do I have? I don't have anything. So, I really, truly, I feel like growing up is definitely understanding that time is important, and understanding where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, it's equally as important to understanding your purpose. Because the more people that you hang around, the more you find out who is supposed to be around you, right? And who's not supposed to be around you. Because you get a vibe on who people are. So when people hang around a bunch of people and they just pretend to be like someone they're not, and they're trying to fit in, they're not really opening up a good judgment on who's supposed to be in their circle and who's not. And that's my problem. It's like you have to be your authentic self in a big crowd of people, so you know who your tribe is. And once you understand who your tribe is, then you know who to look out for. You know who to stay away from. You know who to accept in your life. And I think women suffer from that a lot because, again, the social media. They see these girls with these bodies done, the makeup, and all these, surgeries, and they're like, "Well, I got to look like that." So they go out in public looking like that. But really, if they were to just go out with their natural self, I'm sure they would attract a way nicer guy or way nicer friends, or better people who relate to them. Instead of just looking like the crowd, how about you attract the people in the crowd that have the same heart as you, the same mind as you, the same soul as you, right? Well, it never can be the same soul, but a similar soul. So, that's what people have to realize. And if you don't get to that point of understanding, I'm not saying you have to be like that when you're a teenager. You got to understand that as a teenager, even though that's great. But if you can understand that before you're 30, then you're setting yourself up for success later on in life. See, some people don't understand that until they get to like 50, maybe even after that. And I've heard stories of people go to their deathbed and still haven't understood that rule, right? So, that just comes with a lack of knowledge, not being around the right people, not having the right leadership or the right parenthood, right? Parenting is very important. If you don't have the right parents, then you're basically set up for disaster in this life. You have to have the right parents, and it doesn't have to be biological. It can be, parents who might just anyone who gives you love and attention, and they care about you, then that's a parent, or that's a parent like person, right? It's like in high school, I was the person who looked after the group when everybody was like, drunk or hungover or whatever. I made sure, okay, we're getting home at this time, everybody's accounted for X, Y, and Z. It's like you have to have somebody in your life that's like that, who takes responsibility for the actions of not only you, but the people around you. If you're not able to do that for yourself. So eventually you want to all be able to take responsibility for your actions, but it's something that you just grow up to learn about. I think kids nowadays, they don't understand that because they're around so many immature people. Their parents, their cousins, brothers, sisters, they can be immature themselves. And then you go the news, you go on the TV, all those people are immature as well. Your rappers, every new rapper is talking about nonsense, immature kid stuff. So you're just creating a cycle of disaster, and it only is happening in the black and Latino communities. Now, it's not happening as much as it is in the Latino community and the black community as other cultures, but it's still happening in other cultures too. But black and Latino cultures, we are definitely the target to damage, especially the black community in America. The black community in America, there's an agenda to separate us. There's an agenda to dumb us down and keep us at this low vibration because they know that once Black America comes together, once the youth of Black America starts working together, that's when the power struggle will change. And those in power now don't want to see that. They don't want to see Black America come together because they know Black America is truly the chosen ones to lead us to the promised land. It's written about in stories, it's written about in the Bible. It's just obvious that everything in the world is black influence. It's melanated people influenced, right? Without the influence of melanated people, the world doesn't move. The world does not move. You take melanated influence out of everything in pop culture and entertainment, it's bland, it's dry, everything's boring. But the moment you add a black person in, or a Latino person in, or somebody of color in, that's when the spice happens. That's when the magic happens. So the people who own these corporations and these companies, they understand that. They know that they're not the ones that are moving the ship. It's the black people. So when they brought us, you see, a lot of us were already here when the slave trade happened. A lot of us were already here on these parts of land, America and the Caribbean island. A lot of us are already here. But when they brought us over from Africa, they made us work these fields and build up America. And the slave masters, they took credit for all of it. So everything you see here in America, infrastructure and all the great business ideas, that's all black influence. All of it. Slaves built this country. immigrants came and worked and maintained this country, and it's just all been controlled and dominated by, the European race. And that's not to say that the white people today are bad. It's the white people back in the day. They were messed up. They were bad people, and that energy that they carried, it just has passed down through the generations. Now, the white people I know today are very nice people. They're very good people, and they're helpful and they're thoughtful. But a lot of the energy that their ancestors had is still resides within them, and so that's why we see so much animosity towards white and black and what's it called, immigrants, because they still feel that hatred. It's almost like, you can't blame them, because it's like naturally that's how they're feeling. But again, it's also taught. So as a baby, you don't feel hate as a baby. It's only when hate is taught to a baby, taught to a child, that's when they start experiencing hate. So, it just takes people to break out of the programming, because the powers that be have made it this way. They have set the dynamics up for the world to be like this. So there's hatred towards colors. There's only one race, it's the human race. There's no such thing as white race and black. There's no such thing. We're all a combination of colors and shades. A white person's ancestor could have been a black person. A black person's ancestor could have been a white person. So, it doesn't matter what you are. It's just over the times that we've been living here on Earth as humans, people have been mixing bloodlines, and shades have been changing. So there's no real white race and black and Asian. That's all nonsense. It's all just a device to separate us and distract us. That's why there's nations with imaginary borders. That's why there's sports teams and leagues where now I'm rooting for one side and you're rooting for the other side. Democrat, Republican. We hate each other, but really we share the same land. We eat on the same land. We breathe the same air. We drink the same water. So why are we fighting all the time? Can we agree on something? Can we agree on that natural resources is the way to go to protect those things so we can live sustainably here on Earth? Can we agree on that at least? Let's put down the drinks. Let's put down the guns. Let's put down the flags, and let's agree on one thing: that we are here to sustain life on Earth, to take care of our families and pass down generations. But we can't do that if we are fighting each other and we're indoctrinated to believe that our neighbor is supposed to be our enemy. And that's only like that to its extreme in the black community. Anywhere else, these cultures, they work together. You go to an Italian culture and neighborhood, they working together. You go to an Asian neighborhood, they're working together. You go to any type of Latino community, and for the most part, they're working together. It's only when you get to the black community, they're not working together. And all the other cultures understand that. They see that. They don't want black people to work together, because they know once black people work together, we're going to take our rightful spot on the throne. Now, it's not to say that black people are supposed to be these people you worship and praise. No, it's just to say that we are the leaders here. If you're going to use us for everything else to make money off of us, let us lead the way. Let us make political decisions. Let us make, demographic decisions. Let us really start making moves on this planet like we're supposed to, because we are literally the chosen race. And again, there's no race, but we are the chosen shade of people. For whatever reason, whatever is in your heart, and let me clarify this as well. It's all about what's in your heart, right? Now, there are a lot of black people who are not good people. I've met a lot of black people who are bad people. And I'm like, how are you like this? And you're just like me. So, it's something within all of us that we like we have righteousness to us, and that's just the God power that's within us, the God frequency. But black people have this certain type of spirit within them that's just different from everyone else. And I found that Asian people have it too. Asian people have a strong spirit. Latinos have it as well. Again, Latinos are just black people that speak Spanish. That's all they are. But they're never going to admit it. A lot of them don't admit that. But so Latinos are black, right? Um, And white people have it too. There's a lot of white people that have that spirit, but there's a reason why. Again, entertainment world, the sports leagues, it's all filled with black people because we have that something about us that can't be replicated. You can't tell a robot to mimic a black person. You can't, because we have that randomness about us that whoa, what's gonna happen next, right? So that's the God power within us. And again, all of us have that within us. It's just that black people have it at a level that's like, you can't compare it, you know. So that needs to just be respected. And again, there's a reason why black people in America have been stripped of their last names. There's a reason why we don't know who our ancestors are. They don't want you to know who your ancestors are. They don't want black Americans to know that your ancestors were kings and queens in Africa and on this land in the United States, in North America. We built great empires here. They don't want you to know who your tribe really was, right? But we know all about European culture. We know all about Roman history and Greek history. We know all about that. Everybody from those cultures, they can trace their lineage back for thousands of years. But black people in America, we can't even trace it back no further than 300 to 400 years, and if that. I'm telling you right now, a lot of black people today, we can't trace our family lineage past 100 to 200 years. No more than 200 years, I would say. Most of us, because as a slave, we were mixed up. They mixed us up. They stripped us of our names. They made us. They broke up the family. So if you had a wife and a family, y'all might have been shipped to different plantations. So it's like that's devastating. Those things create everlasting trauma in people's brains and their hearts and their souls. So when they have children, the same feelings that they went through, it just gets passed down. It's generational trauma. Not to mention slavery in itself was like horrendous. The slaves were getting whipped, beat, forced to work long shifts with no pay, with nothing to eat, nothing to drink, and then they got sexually abused, especially the women and the man. The man got raped just like the woman got raped, children and everything. If the slave master didn't like the male slave, and the male slave had a wife who was pregnant, they would literally rape both of them, and then they'll cut the baby out of the woman. That's what I'm talking about as trauma. That's the type of level of trauma that black Americans are dealing with. But they don't want to talk about that in the history books. They don't want to mention that to kids. They're like, "Oh, that's too much. Don't go that deep into it." Why? That's the real history. That's what really happened. So you have to understand that black people today, it's not because we want to be like this. It's just that we have so much trauma built up that over 400 years they've tried to knock us down to our feet. They try to kill us. They try to eliminate and exterminate black people off this land. But guess what? We're still here and we're standing strong. Our backs, it might bend, but they don't break. So nowadays everyone's a slave. No matter if you're black or white, Latino, Asian, we're all slaves now. But back in those days, white people really were like, yeah, we on this side and those niggas is on the other side. That's how it was. Nowadays, white people, y'all on the side of niggas now. Y'all just have a little bit more of leeway, and you have a little bit more of a getaway pass, but you're still a slave just like us. Why? Because there are powers that be who are a part of these religious cults. All religion is a cult. All the religions are cults. Any religion where it involves money is a cult. So all the religions are cults, right? Uh, how do you want to talk about the one that has turned a religion into a race? I don't even want to talk about that religion. But um, again, all the religions are cults, right? And these people are hiding behind they're hiding behind the Bible, and they're hiding behind religious textures, um, um, to push an agenda, and they are bad people. These people are really, really psychotic sickos. They're bad people. They're control freaks. They want to control everything about your life. They want to control what you think and what you say, how you breathe, how you move, what you see. They want to control everything. That's the level of psychotic that we're dealing with. These are sociopaths. These are psychopaths, right? These are people who they don't think of themselves as normal human beings. They think they're gods because they have resources and money that they stole, not money that they generated. They stole all of their resources. They killed people for their resources. Not like they deserve it. They kill people for their gold. They're like pirates. They went around the world killing people and gathered gold and resources. And then now they've built a world where they are the kings because people think they deserve it because, oh, well, they worked hard. No, they worked hard at killing people. They didn't work hard like me and you worked hard. They worked hard by putting a gun into a child's face and said, if you don't give me your gold right now, I'm killing your whole family. That's what they did. So we why at today in this day of age, why are we accepting what they say? Why are we falling blindly to what these people say? Because there's not that many of them. There's not that many of them. There's probably 1,000 bad people in the world that really like call the shots, and about 100 families out of those 1,000, right? And they just control military groups who listen to everything these people say. But what if these military groups consist of people like me and you? They're just normal people who just pledge their allegiance to a nation. What if they're like, no, we're not going along with this. We're not going to kill innocent people anymore just so you can get rich. Back in the day, it used to be the commanding leader of an army would fight the battle. They would lead the way in war, and you had respect. You would want to fight with your leader. Today, the leaders, the fake leaders, the fake powers that be, they just sit back in their mansion while you send your child off to war to kill innocent people. And they sit back and collect millions and billions of dollars off of that. So you're playing into their game. You're making the money when you fight these wars. I'm not saying don't protect your country, but why are we fighting in the first place? We're all human beings. Why are we fighting? Oh, it's because we are all in survival mode. We are all in this survival mode where everyone's trying to just get a crumb, a piece of the bread. That's what's going on. We're all in survival mode because they've created a capitalistic world where everything's about survival. When there's more than enough to pass around. You know how big this planet is? And they're telling me there's too many people on this planet? That's nonsense. God's not going to create a world that couldn't fit all of humanity. That's nonsense to say there's too many people. No, it's just that they don't want us to explore too much of the planet because they know how much resources is really here, and they want to hide what's really going on this earth. You know how many undiscovered locations are just waiting for people to come around and see what's happening, the amount of resources that are here, the amount of life changing natural resources that are here, things that could cure all diseases, things that could create free energy for all of us, the amount of science that's still yet to discover about this world and our existence. They're hiding it from you because they don't want you to get your power. They don't want you to have power. They want all the power. If there's 8 billion people here on this planet, that means we're all worthy of power. We're all worthy. We all have a say because we're one unit on one boat. Earth is just a boat floating in the middle of the cosmos. And that's a whole nother discussion of what space is. I don't believe that whatever they're telling us about space, I don't think it's what's really going on. Right? We don't have wings to fly up into space and see, but we're able to swim deep in the ocean and hold our breaths and swim. We can do that. But they don't want you in the ocean. They don't want you to see what's down there. They don't want you to see the type of life that exists in the oceans and the ecosystems that are down there. And all these things are dependent on what's going on up top on the earth, on the land. The land and the sea is connected. It's not separate. People think land and sea is separate. No, land and sea is one entity. It's one organism. We've been indoctrinated to believe it's separate because we can't breathe underwater. We don't need to breathe underwater. Our bodies are able to hold our breaths so we can be underwater for long periods of time. If you look into ancient cultures and sea cultures, they were able to dive underwater for hours, be under there chilling and discovering stuff because their bodies adapted to it. We were water people. We were sea people. That's who the black people were. We were sea people. If you ever watched the movie Avatar, Avatar is exactly that. It's about the sea people of this ancient, ancestral world, and these aliens, these white people who look like these, these aliens who look like white people. They invaded the planet and they had to clone themselves into the natural habitat of these people. So they had to fit in. They had to be blue people, blue avatar people. They had to look like that in order for them to survive on that planet in the atmosphere. And if people have seen it, it's just a war between these two people. How they've infiltrated the avatar bodies, and they're basically taking leadership of the planet through from within. So that movie, James Cameron, he even said, yeah, that's about black people. He straight up said it. So what does that tell you? Is that they're putting subliminal messages into our movies, into our entertainment, into our media, because they know there's truth in all of it. They have to tell you the truth before they do it. If they don't tell you, then karma will come back on them. But since they're telling you the truth, like in plain sight, they're telling you, you got to be the one to be like, hey, wait a minute, I know what's going on here, right? Now, I'm not saying every single movie you need to look at, as that's the truth, but best believe in almost every movie, there's something in that movie that's true about our world, right? Sci-fi included. All these movies, there's something true about these movies. I'm not saying everything, but when you watch something, understand that whatever is put in front of you, especially if it's coming from the TV, there's a message behind it. It's not just for fun and games. There's something behind. There's an intention. There's a purpose behind why they're showing you this ad, why they're showing you this commercial, why they're showing you this movie. And people who don't think on that level of critique, those are the people who they feed on. They feed on people like that to not look at it into deeper any deeper. To be like, oh well, that's just a cartoon, or that's just a joke. No, 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 no. They hope that you think that way. It's all part of the program. They're trying to get you. They're trying to dumb you down, so you don't think deep about stuff. So you stay on the surface of every topic and conversation, and y'all never go any deeper than the surface. Listen, the world that we live in, it's all about water. Everything about our lives is centered around water. All the products that we see in our homes and the street, it's all made from water, liquid. They need water to make all this stuff. Our bodies, designed by God, made by God, by the Creator, it needs water to survive. If it does not have water within 3 to 7 days, the body will die. Some people are able to survive after that, but it's not healthy, and you will die very quickly if you do not have water in your system. So water is very important, and I don't understand why we're not making laws to protect our natural resources. Like, why are we not making laws to protect our water supply, our air, our food? If we know that we need these things to survive, if we don't have these things to survive, we're dead. We might as well just be robots. Because if we get rid of water and air and natural foods and natural elements of this earth, well, we might as well just be robots. Robots don't need it. And that tells you exactly what robots are. They're created by, an evil force, an evil entity. Technology is created by evil entities and spirits. They call it technology because it's not natural to the world that God, the creator, whatever you want to call it, whatever God made on this earth, it's supposed to be for us. Anything else that you see that doesn't recycle back into the earth is made by the devil. It's made by ancient demonic spirits that have taken hold of humanity and tricking us to believe that this is the world that we need to live in. No, the world that we need to live in is outside. It's not in your house. It's not in your phone. It's outside. It's your neighborhood. It's the forest. It's the oceans. It's the beaches. That's the world we need to live in. That's the world we need to study. If people were to study the animal world, the animal kingdom, I guarantee you will find a lot of resemblance to humanity in our culture. I guarantee you will. Just for example, an ant, the ant colony. I've said this before. One ant is harmless. One ant can't do nothing. But a colony of ants, when they work together to protect the queen and to serve the queen, they are amazing. They're a force to be reckoned with. An army of ants can take down a whole elephant. You see ants, when they collect the leaves and stuff and the food for the queen, and in the hive and stuff, they're in one line and they're working like synchronized robots. They're amazing. You really watch ants and see how they live their lives. They are amazing, and they work in numbers. See, numbers are everything about this world. Look at all the fish in that sea right now. You can count each and every single one of them. That's for a reason. That tells you that we didn't create math was discovered by humans. The fact that I can count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 and etc., that means that something created all this. Human beings did not create mathematics. 1 + 2 = 3, and that's it. That's the formula. That's the formula for life. A male female offspring. There's no in between. There's no male and male. There's no female and female. No, that doesn't work. That equation doesn't work. So again, I don't have a problem with the letter community, but I have a problem with how they're pushing this Satanism agenda onto kids, and they're trying to get us to agree with it. No, that's not what's going down. That community is not. They're not really about equality and equal rights. That's not what they're really about. The leaders of that community, they're about demonic worship. They're about transhumanism, and they're trying to push this onto kids and confuse the world and get people to turn their backs on God, the Creator, the Most High. They're getting people to turn away from what's natural. They want you to be fake. That's why plastic surgery is so big. They fake this, fake that. Why not just be who God created you to be and develop yourself? Like I've seen plenty of people who they were ugly or they were fat and out of shape, and they just went to the gym, ate right, and did what they needed to do to keep their soul and their mind and their body healthy, and they turned out to be amazing looking people. And their character as well changes, because when you go through things, your character develops. It's like when you put that time in at the gym and you're going every day and you're dedicated, you develop a certain type of attitude about yourself and a charisma that you carry with you. When you hop off a surgical table, you don't have those same tendencies. You're just the same person, you just look different. You just look better. But when you go to the gym and you commit to your health, you are a completely different person from within, because that means you change from within. You didn't change from without. You didn't change from outside. You change from within. It's like a sculptor. Like when a sculptor starts a project, it's just a cylinder, or just a big block, and they start slowly chipping away. And after how many ever months or years it takes to create this amazing sculpture, it comes out beautiful. But it took time to carve out those layers, to get every fine detail. It took thought, it took pressure, it took all these things to sit there and be patient with the process. But at the end, you get something beautiful. You get a beautiful statue, a beautiful sculpture, a beautiful canvas of art. So our human bodies are the exact same way. Our lives are the exact same way. The way we treat people is the exact same way. All of it works exactly the same way. The earth, when we grow a harvest, it's the exact same way. You have to be patient for the harvest to bloom, right? But once it blooms, you get to reap what you sow. So, listen, like people have to realize that there is a God. There's a one almighty God, a creator, whatever you want to call it. There's something that created all this, and it's giving us this power and this ability to live here on earth. I don't know why we're here. I don't know why who thought that we should have life and create a society. I don't know why that happened. But what I do know is we've been given water, we've been given oxygen, we've been given the sun, and these natural elements like the leaves and the plants and the animals. We've been given all of that for our benefits to study and to observe and to protect. Most importantly, to protect all of these things. Why? Because without it, we will cease to exist and we will cease to have God in our lives. So if we don't have these things, if there is no plants and animals, then there is no God. If there is no water, then there is no God. If there's no sun, then there is no God, and that means there's no humans. And that's what they're trying to push into this new age of transhumanism. They're trying to push that idea that, yeah, let's bring in robots. Let's have robots come in and take the place of human, and we'll be the gods. But then these people don't realize that the robots are going to turn on them, and then they're going to be idiots. Because what it is that these people are so rich and powerful that they want to live forever. They want to keep their status on Earth forever, and they know that once they die, they lose all that, and they're going to have to see God. Their judgment from God is going to come. So they already know that. They already know their place in the afterlife is finished. So that's why they're trying to create technologies to prolong their life. That's why they're drinking the blood of children and babies. Adrenochrome, look it up. They're drinking the blood of children to stop the aging process. This is what these people are into. They're satanic. They're into occult worship, and they want to use AI to prolong their souls, and they want to put their mind into a robotic body so they can stay here on Earth. That's what these people are doing. This is not a movie. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a sci-fi movie. This is like real technology, real things that are in play right now. And who knows how far they've gotten into this programming of AI. At any moment, they could shoot out an army of AI right now, and what's going to happen to humanity, right? So, again, we have stores and restaurants like McDonald's that they already have a store that operates solely on AI. They have no humans that work at the store. Like food is supposed to be sacred. Food is supposed to be made by humans. You put your personal touch in every meal that you make and you cook. So when you cook up, people taste your flavor. They taste your soul in the food that you prepare. Even if it's generic food, they still taste the way that you arrange the food, because it's all about presentation. But when a human does it, it can't be replicated because our souls can't be replicated. The way you do something is individual to you. It's special and unique to you. Nobody can do it like you do it if you do it at the best of your ability. So if an AI does it, it's just another burger. But if a human does it, now there's flavor, there's taste. There might be some mess ups in the burger where an AI could never calculate the mess up. That is the God given ability within us. That's the spirit, is that we've been given the ability to mess up, because that means that we're not perfect. And we're not supposed to be perfect, but we're supposed to strive to be perfect. Because if we just strive to be perfect, we'll never be perfect, but we'll get close to it. And that's all that matters. Because you're in the level, in the range of great and good. And you're not dwelling at the low vibrations. You're shooting high for a high vibration. You want to vibrate at a high level. You might never ever vibrate at the highest level, because that's what God is. That's what the chosen one is. But everyone else, they can get pretty close to it. So that's the goal. But we live in a world today where they want you to vibrate at a low vibration. That's why pornography is free, because pornography, it lowers your vibration. It tells you, hey, you need to watch fake women and fake love happen on the screen, and it puts you in a complacency as a male, and now you think this is real, and it's really just destroying your spirit and your vibration. The food we eat, the water is tainted with fluoride. All these things are killing our soul. It's killing our spirit and our bodies, and the chemtrails as well. So the airplanes, the commercial flights that you see with the jet fuel shooting out of it. Yeah, that's not normal. That shouldn't be a thing. And side note, why don't all airplanes have parachute systems? I don't understand like why we risk our lives to go up in these planes and there's no parachute system just in case something happens. Oh, I know why. Because insurance, you know. So, it's just sad that we have decided that this life is what it's supposed to be, but really it's not. This matrix is not what God intended it to for us to live. God intended for us to get to our highest self, our highest form of being, and that's when we'll see what the world will be like. When everyone gets to their highest self and everybody's working within their passion and their creativity, they're all vibrating at a high frequency. That's when we can start linking minds. Like, again, it goes back to the ants. All the ants serve one purpose: is to protect the queen. And when all the ants are operating at a high frequency, at a high level, they're all synchronized. They're all synchronized. All of them are synchronized like they're robots, and they do amazing stuff together. That's exactly what humanity is. Hold on, I need to get a drink. Throat gets dry. Yeah, that's exactly what humanity is. Humanity is just like the ant kingdom. So again, I just hope that people can wake up to the messages that I'm trying to tell people, and that's my whole purpose for doing music, is because I want to get a platform. I want to develop a community that speaks truth without censorship. And we really help people. It's not about just hearing my music. It's not about just supporting what I do when you come to my show. It's about what do you get out of this? Other than getting drunk and singing a few love songs. Like, what do you get out of this? I want you to get information out of this. I want you to have something you can leave my show, my music, or whatever it is I promote. You can leave something with something. You can leave with something valuable, whether it be knowledge, whether it be a product, whether it be an idea, whether it be just a great experience in your heart, and in your mind. Like, I want you to leave with something that impacts your life for the rest of your life in a positive way. I don't want to just sell you, hey, go stream my song. like like, what type of marketing is that? Like, why should I stream your song? And then I go stream and it's not even all that good. Like, music was intended to be heard in person because music is magic. It's it is definitely a form of witchcraft because you're messing with frequencies and numbers, and if you program certain numbers to hit certain frequencies, you can affect how people feel and what it's like programming people. That's why rap music, they have heavy basses, like 808 bass, because the 808 is a war drum. It's the African war drum, that boom, ba boom, boom, and then you got all these drum sounds on top of that, and then you throw on these derogatory lyrics and these degrading lyrics. Bro, that's programming people. That's putting people in a trance. And if you're listening to that every day, yeah, you're going to be messed up, spiritually and mentally and physically. So that's why I don't listen to the new music today. I listen to a lot of old music. um I also listen to a lot of jazz music, just music without lyrics, because I love just hearing instrumental music because it's just something therapeutic about that. And again, lyrics, when you have words on top of beats, it's definitely witchcraft. You're definitely programming people to act and think and feel a certain way. So you have to be careful when you listen to certain musics. Oh, sorry, my alarm is going off. Let me just turn that off real quick. Yeah, so this podcast is raw. This is authentic. There is no cuts. Everything straight off the book. You dig? Um, but yeah. So music. It's something that people must understand that it's used as a weapon. And they're targeting the children. So that's why I got into music. And when I got into music, I was really doing it for my pleasure. Because this is what I felt in my heart. And the more I got into the music, the deeper I got. I found out who I was. you know I started to understand who I am and what my purpose was. Because before that, I didn't know who I was. I remember I was at a bar one time, right? Maybe I told this story before, I don't remember, but I was at a bar one time and I was talking to this older lady. She was in her 30s. She was a school teacher, and I was just telling her we were having a nice conversation, right? And I was just telling her like how the dating world's kind of messed up. Like I feel like girls in my generation don't really like look for men, good men anymore. Like they think they are, but they're just choosing bad men as a result. And I feel like I told her I feel like I don't connect with women like that at my age. I connect with like more older women because they have more maturity about them and they've been through things. And I've always been kind of like an old soul, so I can always relate to adults. But I was 22 at the time when I was talking to her, and I remember she said this one thing. She was like, "Well, just be yourself." And I was like, kind of like taken back by that comment because I didn't really know who I was, and that was like a moment in my life where I kind of felt like, wow, like I don't know who I am. And it's okay to feel like that in this world at that age. It's okay to feel that way. You said you have time to figure that out, but it really struck home for me. And that's when, like, shortly after that, maybe like, I think actually like a year or two after that, that's when I started really getting into music. I was doing it before that happened, but when 2020 hit, um, I really started getting into music and I started taking it seriously. And again, that's when I went through, kind of like my down point in life. Like I hit rock bottom right before 2020 happened. And so while 2020 was happening, I was kind of like getting out of the rock bottom and everybody was going into the rock bottom. So, um, you know, I was able to really like observe the world differently at that time. I'd just gotten out of a relationship and it definitely drained me spiritually. And I felt like it was necessary for me to just isolate myself, so that's why I got into music, and music helped me really just focus on me because I wanted to create my own sound. That was my initial goal, is to create a sound that I was proud of, that was uniquely me. I know a lot of people in music, they trying to sound like other people, like especially producers, like they're trying to like sound like other people, but for me, I'm like, nah, I want to create my own sounds. So once I discovered that I can create sounds just by tapping the keyboard, and when you use seven notes, because that's all you need is seven notes, A to G, yeah, A to G, and the musical scale, you create magic. So once I like understood that, I just went away with trying to create my own sound, and through that process and that journey, I found out who I was as a person, and things became more clear to me. But before that even happened, I decided to give my life to God. I decided to become more of a spiritual person. And I started praying. I started, doing things that, you're taught as a religious person in the Christian, practice and stuff like that. Like I was baptized as a kid as a Christian Baptist, but I never really followed it. I never really prayed before I ate or when I go to bed or when I woke up and stuff like that. Like I never really understood God. I never had a close God was around me and my family and everything like that, but like me personally, I always was kind of like standoffish to the idea of Jesus and all that stuff. Like it just never connected with me, right? But it wasn't until again I hit rock bottom and I was like, all right, well, maybe I should look into this. And then that's when I really started like feeling what God was, and it's a personal journey. You have to for yourself decide that you want to get into that realm of belief and faith, you know. And it's not that I believe there's God. I know there's a God because look at the screen. You look at these natural elements in the world. Look at our bodies and the way they move. Like there's definitely a God. So once I came to that realization about life and like animals and people and all this world that we live in, that's when the floodgates started opening up for me. So I use Christianity as a stepping stone to enlightenment. A lot of people they get into the church and they just stay there at that level of spirituality. No, you need to progress. We need to learn more about spirituality. It's not about just showing up to church on Sunday. And really, we're supposed to worship on the Sabbath on Saturday, which is the Sabbath. That's really what we're supposed to do. But regardless, people just show up to church and be like, "Well, I'm connected to God and this and that," and they spend hours at church and they do this and that at church, just deliverance and that. Listen, that's great and all, right? But use it as a stepping stone. Get to the next level of spirituality, and that next level is understanding who you are as a person, because God's going to tell you who you are, because God left a human heart in your body, and in that heart it's a soul. So that's where you connect with God, and that's where you understand God. So when you do things that feed your heart and your soul, that's when you'll understand your purpose and what you're supposed to be here on earth. But the more you run from that and you don't reflect from within, you'll never understand your purpose, and you'll just keep allowing other people to tell you who you are, other people to tell you who and what to worship, right? So, you know, use religion as a stepping stone. Don't stay at one level of spirituality. You know, that's my message for people to understand. And people pray to Jesus and all that. That's cool, but you don't understand that Jesus, when he was here, I believe there was definitely a Messiah that had roamed the earth, and I think it happened over multiple spans of time, where there was multiple messiahs that come, in certain timelines, and they basically directed people back to the truth, right? I believe that that definitely happened, and it's like a spiritual thing. It's not like it's like something that possesses one human being, and that human's able to connect at the highest level and gather the real people of God together, at times where it's needed. Like that movie, oh yeah, not the movie, the TV show, the Avatar, the Nickelodeon anime. That's a really great example of it. Kind of basically explains what Jesus is in that movie, in that TV show, because the Avatar is basically a spirit that comes around like every 100 years or so. Whenever the world is about to like go into like chaos, like the Avatar comes and basically sets balance in the world, and then it vanishes, or it just goes away, right? But that avatar is chosen through generations. So each generation, there's one avatar that's chosen. So one person is chosen to be the avatar, and you have to be like a good person. You have to have the spiritual knowledge, and you have to just basically be someone that's worthy of being avatar. And it's something that the universe chooses. It's not that like you're born into this hierarchy and you're no, it's like the universe chooses who the avatar is through your heart. So long story short, the avatar is able to use all the elements in earth, like the water, the fire, the air, and the wind, the no, wait, no, water, fire, air, and ground and earth. So the avatar is able to bend all of these elements, which means they can basically make it move and shoot it out of their hand and stuff like that. Like obviously it's an anime, so it's fantasized a little bit, but basically that avatar possesses all four abilities, while everybody else only has one ability. It's like a natural chakra type of thing. Like everyone's biologically is made to only possess one of those abilities, and not everybody is able to do bending in the show. Like only like certain amount of people are able to bend and do element bending, but the avatar can do all of it, and so that's what makes the avatar the greater one, the greatest one, the chosen one. So I think that's like a very good way to explain like the Jesus thing, because it's said that Jesus was born a human, right? And Jesus just had the soul. Jesus is the Son of God, and I do believe that, and this is where it gets like kind of like touchy, because it's like, was Jesus really fully human? You know what I mean? Like, is there some type of alien connection to the Jesus story? Is there some type of alien connection to humanity? I don't know. I mean, the pyramids, they say so. The Emerald tablets say so. What are those? The Sumerians, they say so. So these are ancient stories and scriptures written about, like, so it's hard to say that there is an alien presence on Earth, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was, right? I never deny anything because I don't know. Just like I don't know if the earth is flat or not. I have no idea if the earth is flat or not. I mean, it could be and it could not be. But it's not like I can go up to space and figure it out. Like I can't do that, you know? God never gave me the ability to fly up out of this world and see if the world's flat or not. So why am I focused on it? Why am I worrying about it? What I can do though, I can swim in the ocean and find out what's going on down there, right? So, again, is there aliens? I don't know. There probably are, and they probably do. They probably have infiltrated our society, and some of them probably do look like humans, and they're definitely involved in religion for sure. But again, it doesn't really matter. Only thing that really matters is that there is a higher power, and I believe that there is a chosen one who comes along to tell everyone else that hey, God is real, and if you don't get yourself right, and if you don't start becoming a better person, if you don't start living within your purpose, then you're gonna waste your life, and your life is just gonna keep passing. You're gonna waste the time that you agreed to be here on Earth, because being a human here on Earth, to be able to have life is a blessing. It's such a blessing. The fact that you've been given life as a human being, the most intelligent creature on the planet, you've been given life to experience. That's amazing. So we need to take advantage of the short amount of time that we have here, because most humans don't live no past. Well, all of us, none of us live past 120 years. It was said that we could live past longer than that, but apparently we have telomere caps on our in our brains, so now we're capped off at 120 years. But still, that's not a lot of time considering how long things on this earth live. And that's why we need to know the true history of humanity, because if we don't know what really happened back in the old days, then we're never going to be able to move forward in the future. Like the Vatican, they are holding so much of human history in their library, and they're not giving any of it to the public because they're trying to control us still. Imagine if all this information came out about who humans really are and what our ancestors were and what they built, and what the spirituality side to it was. Like, what if we all knew that? That's why a lot of people take psychedelics, because psychedelics kind of gives you that outer body experience to understand these things, and put you to like it humbles you. I heard stories about people who have done ayahuasca, and ayahuasca like shoots you out of the realm of existence. Like you go to somewhere else, and you experience God, and you experience what it means to be a human being from an outsider's point of view. So that's definitely powerful. It's something unique about the psychedelics, and I think everybody should try it. I personally have never tried psychedelics. I think if anything, I would do mushrooms, but I think it should be done in sacred, grounds. Like you should do it in safe spaces, just like the marijuana. Like the marijuana should be done in a sacred ritual where you're doing it for peace and celebration, not where you're doing it for because of trauma and addiction. It's just like anything. If you abuse it, it's bad for you. So, you know, I think all the drugs should be used sacredly, and controlled. But again, we've created a system that basically imprisons people who possess these drugs and alcohol, and people who are users of it. How are you arresting people who have addiction to these drugs and alcohol? Like that right there should tell you right now that the system is off. It's not a fair justice system. That police officers and lawyers and judges make money off of people getting in trouble, like, and doctors and nurses and healthcare providers, they make money off people getting sick, and they're basically working hand in hand with the food corporations to get people sick. So it's like they're all on the same team working together, and it's all one big business on humanity. They're feeding off humanity, and it needs to be the opposite, where humanity feeds off of the corporations, that we've built, because these corporations are going to help us live a sustainable life here on earth. Why can't we pass laws to protect humanity? I don't get it. Like, the United States is the one place in the world that everybody looks to for democracy. Everybody looks at the United States as the test trial. Like, can democracy really be done by a melting pot? of people? Can it really be accomplished? Can we really create a nation that people from all over the world could come together and create a real democracy? Because everywhere else, there's not what's it called, a microscope on the other places in the world. There's a microscope on the United States, and they want to make sure that they sell the idea and the image of democracy, but it's really not democracy here. Like foreigners, when they meet Americans, they think we're all rich. We're not all rich. So we as Americans, the ones who are born here, we have to stand up for our rights, because our ancestors, they came here to America for a reason, because they saw the opportunity of democracy and equal opportunity for everyone to eat and survive. So let's pass laws that provide that and protect that, and make those things happen. Instead of sending a child to college and make them sign $100,000 contract and learn something that they have no real interest in, it's just they're doing it so they can be employed. How about we fund every kid's dream up to the age of 25? By 25, now you get into the world and you figure out what you're going to do. But before the age of 25, let's fund your education on whatever you want to do. If you want to make music from a young age, you want to start learning how to make music from a young age, okay, we're going to create school systems that obviously will have professionals who are in that business, in that practice, teach you, right? And we're going to pay them well, because this is benefiting the future generations. We're going to fund every kid's dream, fund every single kid's dream, give every kid an opportunity. If you want to if you want to be a cook, a chef, and you decide at a young age that's what you want to do, okay, we're going to fund you. We're going to start you out at the first grade level, and you're going to learn that up until you're 25 years old. And if you decide to choose something else in that time, then okay, you can choose something else. But up until 25, every kid should be able to be funded by the US government, because our tax money is doing it and we all agree to it. Let's make a system where everyone vote truly matters. Everyone's vote has to matter. It has to be a popularity contest where not popular, majority contest where it's no matter what, it's the popular vote. It's whatever we all agree on. It's not that the Senate and the Congress has a say on the outcome. No, they can't have a say in nothing, because at the end of the day, our taxes is what's funding them. We're employing them. The people of the United States employs the government. The government doesn't employ people. The government doesn't pay us taxes. We pay them taxes so they can create a shield to democracy, so they can create a foundation for democracy. But they're not doing that, because I don't know, it's like people just give their money to these people without having any say on what happens with the money. Like, what smart business person who understands money, well, they would never agree to that. They would never agree to just give somebody a bunch of money and for them not to have any say on what happens with that money. Oh, you know why? It's because money, the Federal Reserve, is all controlled by the government and outside forces. So a piece of paper is really just the government's paper. So that's why you don't have no say. See, we need to go back to the times where we created our own products, where we created our own wealth in our backyards, and we had value in our neighborhoods because we created the value, not because we're getting paid and commissioned. No, there's no value. You strip the human of the value when you just give them a paycheck. No, human beings need to be able to create their own value, because we're all capable of doing so. So that's what I mean. Fund a child's dream at an early age. Fund it so they can create value in the world. So by the time they're 25, they're professionals at whatever they've been learning from the time they were young. That's real value. That's how you ensure there's real value in the world, not just throwing people into this classroom and giving them a bozy little piece of paper that's not even guaranteeing them employment. They're not even guaranteed to make any type of money to pay off their debt. Like, it's such a trap, and it's so easy to see. I don't understand how people all this time have gone along with this system. Like, it's sad, and it's because they might know the truth, but there it's been sheltered away from them, because their sports and the entertainment and all that stuff is that's what they care more about. People care more about the Cowboys and the Jets more than they care about, the education system, more than they care about, people who are starving and don't have food, and people who are dealing with addiction, drug addictions. They care more about, what the look, Kylie Jenner, what's she wearing today? And that's no shade on the Kardashians, but it's like, why do we spend so much time caring about what all these celebrities and entertainers are doing? Like, how about we care about what people are doing? Care about what your neighbors are doing, what your neighborhood is doing, what your community is doing. Let's care about that first, because if you start caring about what the people around you, then that's when you're going to start caring about the world around you and what's happening in other places, and how other people are being treated. That's how it starts. But everyone now is so, they're so like in their own ego and their own selves, and, "Oh, I only care about myself because I have to survive," and that's the way they want us to live and think. They want us to think and feel and be that way, because survival is a when you're in that state, it's almost like a panic state. You're in a constant like stressful state. So you're not thinking about anyone else but yourself. See, these people understand psychology. They understand how to manipulate the human mind and the body and the emotions of a person. They understand that stuff. It's simple mathematics. It's just the population doesn't understand it. So if we understood psychology like they understood it, I guarantee that we would not allow these things to go by any longer. But that's just my rant on these things that are happening in the world. And like war, for example, Russia and Ukraine. That's a fake war. It's not even a real war. Like, hold on. Um, sorry, I take a sip of water. The water is so good. I drink water out of a wine glass with some ice. That shit. I keep it iced down. You dig? That's the best drink in the world. Agua. Oh man, I love me some water. You should drink water in the classiest form possible. I don't drink water out of no water bottle. That's ghetto. It's mad tacky. I drink it out of a wine glass, and I fill that jar up. I fill it to the top. Feel me? That thing all the way filled up, and it's ice cold. Shit. Anyway, yeah. So water. I mean, not not water. Damn, what were we talking about? We were talking about the world and, war, Russia, Ukraine. Yeah, so that's a fake war. It's all done by the numbers. The day it started, even the day it started, the Pope was like randomly in the area when it happened. Like, come on, man! Like, all these things are done purposely to create fear and to basically keep stripping us of our liberty. Keep stripping us of our freedom. And it's sad because a lot of people who live in these places like Russia and Ukraine, those are the same people. Like, those are the same people through generations have interbreeded with each other. And a lot of them are related. Or a lot of Russians and Ukrainians are related, through bloodlines and stuff. So like it's not a real hatred. It's just the government is creating it, and they're it's like a movie. It's like we're in a big movie, and we are the audience, and we're also the cast members. It's like people are pulling the strings to make these stuff happen, and we're watching it happening, and it's being done to us, because a person in the United States is the exact same as a person in Ukraine and Russia. There's no difference. We're the same human. We might speak a different language, might believe in different things and say stuff and do different things, but at the end of the day, we still survive off the same natural elements of the world: water, air, sun. You feel me? So it's like, when we can have an understanding that we're all the same, that's when we'll create laws and to protect ourselves, to protect the world, because we're all the same. That's why they're pushing transhumanism, because they don't want us to be the same anymore. They want us robots to be like humans. And that's how they're trying to push that to the kids. They're trying to get kids to accept transhumanism, the transgender stuff, and all that, he, him, and she, her stuff. They're trying to get kids to step away from what God created in this world, which is a male and a female, and that creates an offspring. That is the formula. And if we continue to stay by that formula, we will not lose. The moment we drop that formula, we're going to lose. Because again, we did not create math, we discovered math. 1 plus 2 equals 3. And that's it. End of the discussion. I should end that podcast right now at this point because that's all I need to say. It's just like I don't understand how people don't get it by now. It's just super simple. And the older people, they understand it. They understand that. Listen, life is not about the cell phone. You know, the kids today. See, I was born in a generation where I experienced the cell phone before. I experienced life before cell phones. So I remember when I was a kid, I would go outside and I would be outside until the sun went down and the street lights came on, and your grandma was calling you to come inside. Like I remember that. That was literally part of my childhood. But then I remember, having technology like, the PlayStations and the cell phones. I remember having that too. The Facebooks and MySpace. I remember being on those stuff, the AOL messengers, and I spent all my time inside after that point. I still went outside. I still played outside with friends because that's just I grew up that way. But kids today, they don't know what that's like to play outside all day and without being around your phone. Like everybody has their phone attached to their pocket. Me nowadays, I don't even carry my phone with me. I don't carry my phone with me at all. Like I have it if I'm driving somewhere, I might have it in like my backpack or like somewhere else. Sometimes I leave it at home, but like I don't carry my phone with me when I'm out. Like I try not to at all. Like now everybody's so like anxious to be like, oh, what if somebody texts me? What if somebody calls me? What if it's an emergency? Don't worry about that. If somebody needs to get in touch with you, they'll get in touch with you eventually. Back in the day, it was like if somebody wanted to talk to me, you had to call the house phone, or you had to come see me, or write me a letter, like that, and that it gave people more peace. Like you give yourself so much more anxiety when you have a cell phone on you, because now you're expecting this and that. You're just waiting for somebody to call you and text. Like, bro, that stuff doesn't matter. And then like the social media is making it even worse. Social media is like now you're really checking in on that all that stuff when notifications, like, bro, none of that stuff is real. It's not real in the real world. When you snap back into reality, none of that stuff matters. When you're in a life or death situation, none of that stuff matters. I'm telling you, when your body is shutting down, you're not thinking about no social media, no Instagram. You're thinking about, how am I going to survive? How am I going to breathe? How am I going to eat? How am I going to walk? I'm not thinking about those likes and notifications. I'm not thinking about no retweets. You feel me? Like, so, and then TikTok. Oh man, I don't even want to get started with TikTok. TikTok is crazy, bro. I don't even have to, like, I have a TikTok, but I don't have the app downloaded. Like TikTok is crazy. Like this is the moment I downloaded it for the first time and I saw like the video just instantly pop up and then they just scroll to the next one. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like I don't even have a break to like breathe. Like, yo, I can't like blink and like there's already like 3 videos going across my face. I'm like, bro, that is crazy. I'm like, nah, bro, that would fry your brain in an instant. Like, what if you spend more than 5 hours a day on TikTok? Your brain's gonna be fried. Like, that's why kids can't go to sleep and they're having trouble, waking up, and like that's why everybody has like, social anxiety because their brains are fried, bro. Technology is frying people's brains, dude. It's crazy. So I don't have that stuff. And I even deleted like the Instagram app and the Twitter app. Like I deleted the apps. Like I have it on the browser, but I don't use it the apps because it's so easy to click on the apps and like right away get on it. Like the browser, you gotta type it in. You sometimes I gotta log in. So like it just creates a barrier for me to go to the apps. And sometimes you have to do that. Like I even had time restraints on my phone where my app shuts off and I have to put a passcode in to get back into it. Or there's a way where it shuts off for good for whatever set amount of time. So sometimes you have to do that. If you don't have control, you gotta like set restraints and blockades for you to get away from it. Because it's hard, man. People deal with addiction, and There's nobody teaching you how to use a cell phone. Like, we've been given these devices in the past 20 years, and nobody's taught us the manual on how to properly use this phone without damaging our bodies. All the radiation going to your head from the iPod, I mean the earpods that they came out with, bro, that's radiation straight going to your brain. As soon as you get a call, the cell tower is binging your iPod, your ear pod, and it's literally going straight to your head. Like, and then you have the phone in your pocket next to your genitals, bro. That's straight radiation. All that stuff is going straight to your brain and to your genitals. That is the agenda to wipe out humanity. That's what I'm talking about. I don't have ear pods. I have the wired ones because the wired ones are still relatively safe to use, but I'm not getting that ear pod ones. And I don't even like having my phone on me. Like I said, I don't like having it on me. I don't have it in my pocket. If I have my phone on me, I'm gonna carry it, or I'm gonna have it in like a little bag or something. Like, I don't like having that thing attached to me because it's giving you radiation, and it's subconsciously making you anxious, and giving you anxiety. Slowly but surely. People don't think about that stuff because, again, they don't get deep into thought. They've created a society where people don't get deep into thought. They only stay at the surface level of thoughts and ideas. Me, I'm Shammy Deep for a reason. My whole brand is Deep Sea Underground for a reason, because it's all about getting deep within yourself, getting through the layers of your soul to get to your heart, to understand who you are. It's like diving into the ocean. Like, the deeper you get, the more pressure there is, and the more you want to turn back. But if you keep going, you're gonna discover something amazing down in these abyss depths. And it's just like your heart. It's just like your soul. If you keep going, it's gonna be hard. Listen, just like working out. When you first start working out, it's going to be tough to get down to that layer that God made you to be, that perfect layer that God has for you. But if you keep getting through those layers and you keep carving away, you're going to find the layer that God created you to be, which is your best form, your perfect form. And it takes time, it takes a lot of sacrifice, and it takes a tremendous amount of discipline and resilience to get to that. But if you never start that process, that journey, you're missing out on the blessing. You're missing out on the gold. So it's always so my whole brand is about going deep within yourself, going deep in topics, going deep within your music, going deep in your art. Being able to have deep conversations. When you have a deep conversation with somebody, a heart to heart, it's like you awaken some type of emotion that you haven't felt, and that's where you create true bonds with people. But the more we have these little small talks and surface level conversations, there's no progress, there's no understanding happening. And that's how wars happen, that's how misunderstanding happens, that's how people fight and kill each other for scraps of the bread, of the crumbs. So, again, go deep with yourself, go deep with the people around you, and always remember that God is within you. God is at the deepest layer of anything in this world. God is there. The truth is always going to be there. God is the truth, and the truth is God, right? So I just want people to understand that. Um, I don't know exactly how long I've been streaming. Let me just check real quick. Uh, I can't see it. Anyway, oh, it's been a hour and a half. It's pretty good time. So I'm gonna leave it at hour and 30. So we got about less than 2 minutes. But basically, I just want people to understand, where I'm coming from in the world, and where I see them taking us, and it's not really a good place. They're taking us further and further away from the truth, and humanity is we're not going to be around much longer if we continue to keep going by this system, this fake democracy, this fake economy, and this money system. It's all fraud. We have to create real value in our streets and our neighborhoods. We have to create a council within our neighborhoods that represents the people. And then once you create that council, you can send all the representatives of the state to a council meeting of the country and decide, okay, this is what this state, we all agree on this. We all voted for these laws. Okay, what about you guys? And then that's how you make real democracy happen, when there's a council of people who decide on what happens, not when there's corporations who pay off senators and Congress to pass laws and bills. No, that is never going to be a democracy. That's a dictatorship. That's communism. And they give us this Democrat Republican nonsense. All that really is two wings on the same bird, and that bird is corrupt and evil. That's an evil bird that we're following. Let's follow the holy bird, the spiritual bird. Let's follow the righteous bird. I want to create a third party that's righteous, right? So I'm gonna leave it there. I think that was a great episode for me to kind of just dive into a little topics. I'm gonna have some music coming out soon. I do house music, I do rap, R&B, and all that. I'm gonna have some. I'm gonna have a mixtape coming out. Some of my beats, some of other people's beats, and I'll be rapping over them. Maybe I might just have it instrumental. I'm gonna do some remixes as well, and some original stuff. So I have a lot of music. I just need to like finish. I gotta sit down and just bang them out and finish and put them out to the world. Um, so expect some music from me coming soon. All right. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time and your patience for just sitting with me and having these talks. It's therapeutic for me, and I hope it's therapeutic for you to kind of get a understanding about where I'm coming from, and my whole brand and what I'm about. Always keep, you know, always keep your soul in a on a high vibrating area. Keep your heart in a vibration, because the moment you stoop down to a low vibration, it's easy to get stuck there, and then you'll start attracting other people who are at that level, who don't want to leave that vibration. They don't want to leave that low, negative vibration. They like that. Life is about staying at the highest vibration possible, because that's when the best version of you comes out, and you'll find other people who are like that as well, and then that's when all of you can come together and create a utopia, because you're all vibrating at your best and highest self. All right. Okay, let me leave it there. I love you guys. Take care. Peace.